Art and mindfulness naturally go hand in hand. Art often acts as therapy and kind of requires paying attention on purpose naturally. So when you create something, you have to focus on what you're doing, and it really brings you into the present moment. Art is also all about making decisions and using those choices to dictate your art. So it's really specific, directed focus, because as an artist and as a creator, we're really deciding what to do, and we have to think about making those decisions as you create. So being mindful in your creation is something that's going to naturally happen anyways, but really paying attention to it on purpose is going to be important. There's a special quote that I thought was really interesting about art. This quote is by Amy Miracle. She says, "Art is a natural way to practice mindfulness. The colors, textures, and sounds of creating pull us into the moment. You don't need any previous training to meditate through art, just a willingness to draw like a child and the freedom and sense of curiosity." So as you create, thinking about using those ideas to help you be a little more mindful is going to be pretty awesome. There's an awesome resource that we have about 10 reasons to incorporate mindfulness into your art room now. The awesome thing is that this is obviously specific to the art room, but you can share this resource with other teachers too, and they can use a lot of these techniques in their classroom besides just the ones that are specific to us in art. So it's an easy, shareable resource because there's so many things that are so easy to take out of this resource here that we have. So the first one is just reminding you that art students are able to learn best when they feel calm and relaxed. Probably the same for any other classroom as well, but especially in the art room, when somebody feels relaxed, that's going to give them their best ability to create as strong as they can. Mindful activities lower stress and anxiety in the art room. If you like to make your own art, or even when you're doing examples in your classroom, you probably feel that. There's a natural sense of relaxation or focus on what you're doing, which is why mindfulness is so important to incorporate into the art making technique. Mindfulness also helps students slow down and focus on art making. Sometimes, if you think about it, you can probably name a few students that do things very quickly and it appears they're not really paying attention to what they're doing. So bringing their attention to being mindful and focusing on something on purpose can make their projects and can make their creations a little bit more complete. Mindfulness can also encourage empathy, compassion, kindness towards others. So again, kind of going back to that social emotional learning, that focuses a lot on how a group of students might interact with each other and problem solve, whereas mindfulness focuses a lot on the individual. However, when mindfulness works strong for an individual, it makes them better for each other. So if somebody is really focusing well in the art room, and then they start to have more compassion towards each other, that's obviously going to be a great thing for your classroom experience. It could also help students be a little bit more successful academically because they're feeling more calm, they're feeling a little bit more safe and strong as students, and being mindful isn't something that just will happen in the art room. Mindfulness also leads to higher student engagement. So if they're really focusing on what they're doing, naturally they're more engaged. It just goes hand in hand. Mindfulness can also help students develop a longer attention span. So if they're creating something and they're being very mindful about it, just like we talked about before, if you practice things, practice makes something better. So just like you would practice creating a really awesome painting or maybe doing a cooking lesson, anything that you create with practice is going to get better, and mindfulness is no different. Mindfulness also helps teachers and students focus on strengthening their mental health. And I know this is a huge thing that is important to everybody, especially now we see it a lot with our students, some issues with mental health and things that can always be worked on. As teachers, I know there's things that I'm trying to push for as far as making sure it's okay to admit you need help with something. You need help with maybe you're anxious about something, or maybe you're struggling with feeling kind of like you're having a bad day. And being mindful and being able to identify those feelings is really important for you as a teacher and for your students. Mindful practices also foster an overall calmer art classroom. Obviously, the way you run your classroom is totally up to you. And like I said before, students pick up on your energy. So if you're having a really high energy day, most likely your classroom will reflect that. But if you want to have a little bit more low-key, focused, calm classroom day, then your energy and the way that you present things with a mindful attitude is going to be really important. Teaching mindfulness to students can help an art teacher develop their own personal practice. So advocating for yourself, you're not just teaching these students how to mindfully create something or how to focus, but I promise you it will make you a better educator because you have that moment to relax in between or kind of refocus with that hand washing or whatever you might do so that you can be the very best version of you for your students. Next, we'll be talking about how to start art mindfully with a classroom mantra.